Welcome to the Charlie Show. This is Charlie, aka Miss Charlize, and today is a little bit more of a serious note show because I have a lot of topics that I want to talk about here, and it involves friends, acquaintances, work, work ethics, personal life, my neighbors, my personal relationships, gay community, the racism, the femme, the whole mask aspect, people who hate on Charlize, and how I'm very sick of Colorado. And there's like so many things that I want to talk about here on today's show, and I figured doing it on my show and doing it throughout video rather than dumping someone's head in the fryer or punching someone in the face is a better way of venting out what I have on my mind and anger that I may have inside. Okay? And I've never did this here on the Charlie Show, and I want to be able to do it now because I feel I have to, because there's just some things that needs to be cleared up. So I'm going to say it right now. Anybody who gets insulted or gets their feelings hurt by anything that I have to say, oh well, get over it, because if you are a true friend to me, you will understand and you will listen to what I have to say. Okay? And obviously, it's the only way to vent it out because I can't talk to the person face to face because they get all mad about it. So, that's why I'm going to vent it out here today. I have my little cup so that my voice gets dry because I'm going to be talking a lot. So, the number one thing I want to talk about right now is my friendships. Okay? I'm going to say right now that my very closest and personal friends that I feel are the ones that will be in my life for a very, very long time is Talia, Corey, Elizabeth, and Brandon. That's it. Those are my closest friends. Those are the people that I would look at as literally my brother and sister. Because, even though we've all had our personal differences in the past, even though we've been violent towards each other, we've had our personal differences, somehow we are back to being friends again. And I'm going to explain it. For instance, I'm going to start with Talia. Talia I met back in, I believe, 07 or 08 at the Urban Peak. And, as soon as we met, we pretty much hit it off. We became friends and everything like that. And there was kind of a little bit of confusion there when she met this guy named Kirk. I had somewhat of an interest in him, but I found out she also had an interest in him, and they wound up getting together. There was like a little bit of tension there, but I had got over it because I started to get to know Talia for who she was. And she was like me. She had a lot of things in common. Her birthday's like a day before mine. We hit it off. We became really good friends. And over the years, there's been, we've had our little conflicts and everything. It was actually on Obama's inauguration night when we actually got into it over something, and basically I wound up getting slapped. She wound up being put in a chokehold. That right there was basically the ending friendship, okay? But because we showed so much love and friendship for each other earlier in the past, somehow it just took a lot of time for us to get back to friends or become friends again because, we got over it. We got over it. Like, I figured she's a good friend. She's a good friend. But neither one of us wanted to confront each other and be like, hey, I'm sorry. But Talia was the bigger person when it came to this, and one day she showed up with Elizabeth, and, they came to my front door, and we made up, and we've been friends again. And we try to let things like that has happened in the past just kind of slip by, because I don't want to get in fights like that with her anymore. Talia is a good friend. They will help people out as much as they can. People will help them out as much as they can. Corey, I've never had any issues with Corey. We've always been good friends as well. And, I believe that Corey and Talia make a very good match because they both have very good, caring personalities, and they look out for people. They look out for their friends. And that's why I love Talia and Corey. And, we're always going to have whatever differences in the future We just have to learn how to be able to settle those differences without physical violence or anything like that. And so, I just want to continue to have them in my life because they are very good people and they have a beautiful son together. And I just want to continue to have that love and support from them in the future. So, that's about Talia and Corey. Really, my plants or whatever almost fell off the wall. Now, I don't want to make this, my parts that I'm going to be talking about today too long, so I'm going to talk about my next friend, which is Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth I met, I believe, in 07 as well. This is when I actually was staying at the Urban Peak. Met Elizabeth off of MySpace. And we were trying, my friend Chris and I at the time, were trying to convince her to come down to or Inside Out, it was called, to hang out. And we didn't think Elizabeth was going to show up, but sure enough, she did. We saw her car. I remember what she looked like and everything. She came in, and we hit it off like that. We all basically just became best friends, Elizabeth actually lived somewhere out in Denver, and, so she wasn't able to always come down here, but when she had a chance, she always did. And I love Elizabeth because even though she can be quite sarcastic and annoying at times, just as I can be, I love Elizabeth. We of course have had our differences and our arguments and fights in the past as well. I know that I've annoyed the crap out of her over the years. I know that I've hurt her feelings. I know that we've gotten into physical battles. But there's something about Elizabeth that nobody else really harvests in terms of friendship. And, Elizabeth has always been there for me. She may not have everything that she wants. She may not have the job she wants. She may not have the money she wants or anything like that. But she has that caring personality that I love so much. And everything that I've been through, she's always been there to help me with, as best as she can. Even if it's over the phone, even if it's just on Facebook, she's always been there to comfort me and to give me advice. And even though she thinks I never listen to her advice, I listen to her advice a lot. And, sometimes, like, when I crashed her car, I felt so bad about that. I wish there was something I could have did back then. And, I've always felt bad about that. But, even after that crash incident happened, what did she do? She still stuck by me as my friend. Still showed that she cared about me. And that's why I love Elizabeth. And I feel that Elizabeth is always going to be a lifelong friend, just as Talia and Corey is. So, it's just been a lot of good things. We've all had our bad experiences. We've all had our good experiences. And I just hope that it continues to go good throughout the next years. So, that's what I think about that. And of course, my very next friend, who I want to talk about, is Brandon. Brandon and I met in high school. I can't exactly remember. All I know is I was either a junior or a senior in high school when I met Brandon. And when I first met Brandon, I didn't think that he was going to be, the type of friend that I would ever be friends with, but turned out to be a very good friend. He's a very good friend. I mean, Brandon, in a way, has always been there for me as well. He's fun. He's always uplifting. He's always happy. He's always making me laugh. He's in the Navy now, so he's accomplishing his goals. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He doesn't do drugs. He doesn't do any of that stuff. He's got goals, and he protects his friends. I know Brandon shows a lot of protection for us, me and Elizabeth, and everybody else who's his friends, and it's so nice to have Brandon as a backbone, to know that he's going to be there. And, when he started dating his boyfriend, of course, in the past, it's like the boyfriend and the boyfriend's friends were trying to start things to keep me away from Brandon. And even though Brandon kind of went into this mind thing and wound up, finishing me for a little bit, he came back to his senses and realized that, yes, I am basically like his brother, and so is Elizabeth. Don't get rid of us over somebody he hardly knows. And that's what Brandon did. And now that he's back, I hope that he doesn't ever do such actions like that again. Okay? Because, Brandon, Elizabeth, and Talia, they're like my family. They're part of my family. Family that I don't have besides my mom and my brothers. So I love Brandon a lot. Just as I love Elizabeth and I love Talia and Corey. So those are my closest friends. Um, People I work with, I've worked with people where I work for a while now, and I get along with them perfectly. They're my friends just as well. You know, I'd say that they are my close friends too, but they're not they're not, I guess, really family to me yet because I haven't known them that much, and we haven't really hung out and connected that much, you know. So, I just wanted to touch bases on that I love you guys, Elizabeth and Brandon and Talia and Corey, and I hope that we can all be friends for a very long time and things continue to go up for all of us. So, that was basically my first topic, is my friend and my closest acquaintances, blah blah blah. Coming up on part 2 of The Charlie Show, I'm going to talk about work and work ethics and things that drive me crazy at work. Why they drive me crazy and the constant complaining and blah blah blah. So stay tuned for part 2 of The Charlie Show, and I will be back in a few. Holla back. Make sure you leave your comments too, club. Be right back.